You ever felt that little jolt of panic when you can't find your phone? That, slight tightening in your chest, that twitch in your thumb to just scroll something? It's a feeling we all know, but most of us don't really understand why it happens. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see what's really going on. That line, it's from the journal of a woman named Rachel, who decided to document her own digital detox. Her words just cut right to the heart of this whole thing, and her story is going to be our guide as we dive in. So yeah, that's the big question, right? Why do our phones have such a grip on us? Is it just, a bad habit we've all picked up? Or is there something much bigger, much more deliberate happening behind our screens? Okay, so let's jump right into our first section. To really get a handle on this, we're going to start by looking at the problem through Rachel's eyes. She just had this nagging feeling that her relationship with her phone was off. So, like any good researcher, she decided to start with the data.
And what she found was, well, it was a real wake-up call. It completely shattered her idea that she was in control. The log showed she was spending nearly 30 hours a week on social media. I mean, think about that. That's almost a full-time job.
But check this out, because this is where it gets really fascinating. It wasn't just the sheer amount of time. It was the quality of that time. A staggering 68% of it, she called it mindless scrolling, time she couldn't even really remember afterward. Just gone. And this led her to this huge, critical realization. It's a really powerful way to think about it, isn't it? This idea that we're not the customer here. We're not even just the user. We're the product being used. So, if her phone was using her, you gotta ask, who's the real user then? Who's on the other end of that transaction? Well, that question leads us straight into this massive, invisible marketplace that literally runs on our attention. The term for this whole system is surveillance capitalism, and it was coined by Harvard professor Shosana Zubof. Now, unlike regular capitalism that sells you, a car or a coffee, surveillance capitalism sells you. It harvests our personal experiences, every click, every scroll, every place we go, and it packages that data up for sale. So here's how it actually works, in 3 basic steps. First, these platforms vacuum up massive amounts of our data, everything we do. Second, they feed all that data into these super smart algorithms to predict what we're going to do next. And third, they sell those predictions to advertisers who, you guessed it, want to influence what we do next. And the scale of this market, it's just mind-boggling. To give you some perspective, in 2019 alone, Google's parent company Alphabet brought in over $160 billion from advertising. And it's not just them. Over at Facebook, now Meta, they made nearly $70 billion in that same year. We're not talking about some niche little market here. This is one of the most powerful economic engines on the planet, and it is built from the ground up on capturing and selling our attention. Okay, so here's the crucial point. This whole multi-billion-dollar machine only works if it can reliably get and keep our attention, right? It can't just be left to chance. Which brings us to the next big question. How are these things so darn good at keeping us hooked? To really get it, you have to see the difference between a simple tool and one of these modern platforms. Think about a word processor. It's a tool. It's passive. It just sits there and waits for you to tell it what to do. But a platform, like your social media feed, that's persuasive. It's actively, deliberately designed to use your own psychology against you to keep you staring at that screen. And they have this whole bag of tricks to do it. A lot of it borrowed straight from casino slot machines. That little red dot on a notification, that creates a sense of urgency. The infinite scroll, it gets rid of any natural stopping point. And those unpredictable rewards, the rush you get from likes and comments, that creates a compulsive need to check and check and check again. And Rachel wrote about the real-world cost of these designs. One night, she was sitting on the couch with our partner, and she realized they were both physically right there, but mentally, they were millions of miles away, each lost in their own little digital world. It's a scene that I think hits pretty close to home for a lot of us. This feeling of lost connection, well, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. What's the deeper, more profound human cost of living in this state of constant, fragmented attention? While researchers say we lose 3 really fundamental things. First is our agency, our actual ability to decide for ourselves what we focus on. Second is our identity, as our sense of self-worth gets all tangled up in metrics like likes and followers. And third, we lose deep connection, as we start swapping real, vulnerable conversations for shallow digital updates. MIT professor Sherry Turkle has this perfect name for it. She calls it the Goldilocks effect. We use our phones to keep our connections at this perfectly comfortable distance. Not too close, not too far, but just right. Close enough so we don't feel lonely, but far enough away that we can avoid all the messy, unpredictable parts of real intimacy. Now, I know this all sounds pretty bleak, but, and this is a big but, that's not where the story ends, not at all. After figuring out how the system worked, Rachel decided she was going to fight back. She turned her awareness into her own personal rebellion. And she put 3 simple but honestly game-changing rules into place. First, she did an app audit. She asked a simple question for each one. Does this app serve me, or do I serve it? Anything that failed the test got deleted. Second, she disabled almost all of her notifications. She would decide when to check her phone, not the other way around. And third, she created no-fly zones, times and places like meals and the bedroom that were totally screen-free. And the result was incredible. What she was afraid would feel like deprivation actually felt like liberation. It felt like freedom. Her sleep got better, she was more creative at work, and her relationships got deeper. She proved that setting boundaries with technology isn't about losing something, it's about gaining your life back. And she left us with maybe the single most powerful tool of all, a question we should all ask ourselves. Before you open an app, before you click that notification, just pause for a second and ask, who really benefits more from this? Me or the platform? Because in the end, what Rachel discovered is that in a world that is literally engineered to hijack our focus, maybe the most revolutionary thing you can do is to consciously choose where you place it. Your attention isn't just something you pay. It's the currency with which you live your one precious life.